Ever since I started listening to feedback and taking suggestions for videos, one of the most popular ideas suggested to me has always been to make a video about coming back from a lost lane. Now normally I just give one sentence answers if you ask me this on my stream or somewhere, since there isn't really that much you can do if two players are playing the game correctly and one has an advantage. That's one of the big reasons competitive play works for League. If you're skillful enough to get an advantage in lane, there's very little an opponent can do to swing the game back in their favor if you're playing flawlessly. Some might argue that makes competitive play a bit boring at times, but having very few random factors that can swing the game's direction any which way allows outcomes to be decided purely by a player's skill. The way MOBA or RTS games even are structured in general is all based around outthinking your opponent, outplaying them, getting a lead, and then turning that advantage into a victory without messing up, rather than some other esports like fighting games where momentum can shift very quickly if a player decides to turn up the jets. But anyway, as we all know, solo queue players don't play the game perfectly. Neither do pros, virtually nobody does, and I was reminded of this fact a few days ago on stream when I was playing Aurelia top lane against a Ryze. So today we're going to be taking a look at that game and talking about what you can do and what you should look for if you want to turn a losing lane around. Now keep in mind the example we're going to be looking at focuses on top lane of course, but this is applicable for every lane, just with different variables. For instance, in bottom lane you have 2 players per team instead of 1, in mid you have more burst damage and less tankiness, etc, etc. So in this particular game, as I said, I'm facing Ryze top. Now to be honest with you guys, I haven't been playing League as much as I used to. I've been playing a lot more melee, I've been speedrunning a lot more, and trying to integrate a lot more activities into my daily lifestyle rather than just binging on League for 12 hours a day. Now because of this, I'm a lot happier, but I'm also not as knowledgeable about some of the newer matchups in the top lane that have been emerging recently, like picking Ryze to counter melee champions, or champions who can't take harass that well. Needless to say, this was the first time I'd played against a Ryze in a while, so the game started off very poorly. I was zoned out of a lot of CS and eventually called my jungler, Lee Sin, asking for a gank. When he did get around to eventually helping me, Ryze played the situation perfectly. He was able to go super aggressive as Lee positioned himself, finishing me off before the gank even started, then was able to 1v1 Lee, pick up a double kill along with double buff and a sizable lead. With this deficit, I can't play the rest of the lane I normally would. If I did, I'd continue falling behind, possibly give up a kill or two, end up feeding probably, and lose the game. But because this is solo queue, what I'm gonna do is choose to give up some CS, make sure I focus on just staying alive and last hitting what I can, and wait for a mistake. I'm also gonna try to remember what I said in my top 10 tips video about harassing. The simple act of dealing damage to someone does nothing to give you gold or get you any sort of advantage. It's the kills that come from that harass and the CS discrepancy created by it that matters. So in this game, I'm gonna just focus on last hitting what I can and not dying, taking whatever harass I can take. As I continue laning, last hitting whatever's available, ignoring what isn't, and overall playing passively, his double buff eventually runs out. This allows me to CS a little more and be a little more aggressive, taking a few more hits, not worrying as much about Ryze's killing potential. Eventually, after a decent amount of laning though, Ryze makes a mistake and decides to dive me. He got me fairly low and probably would have had some killing potential in most situations and would have been able to finish me off, but he's way too overconfident in this situation and ends up diving without his summoner spells. The instant I see that coming, a million and one things rush through my head. He doesn't have flash, he doesn't have ignite, I have both, all my abilities are up. His jungler isn't top, I have less health, my E will stun, but more importantly than anything, I can get this kill. At the immediate moment he overcommits, I take advantage of his mistake, flash in, stun, let the tower do some damage, pop my WQ combo, and heal back as much as I can, killing him in the process with my ignite, and bringing the lane back to at least even, if not a little in my favor. It happens in just a few seconds in real time, but those few seconds and those quick decisions allow me to take back control of the lane as we start to move on into the early mid game. This is what you should always do if you start to fall behind in a lane. Not every mistake can swing the game around like this, but in the end, virtually every game will have every player making major mistakes that people can capitalize on. If you find yourself behind in lane, just focus on last hitting what you can and looking for openings in your opponent's playstyle. Now your opponent could play super defensively, not ever allowing you to get a kill and swing the game around so drastically the way I did in this example, but then they'd be allowing you to to last hit plenty of creeps, keep your gold up, and move into the mid and late game as a fairly powerful champion. And if they are aggressive, which they most likely will be if they have a kill or two up on you, then there'll definitely be some opportunities, whether it comes from poor judgment, a missed ulti, or some bad positioning. The important thing here is to stay knowledgeable about skills though, probably more than anything. Knowing the matchup is important of course, but you should try to focus on thinking what skills your opponent has up, what potential they have of doing, and if your skills can do more, whether that's from stuns, other crowd control, utility, or just straight damage. But anyway, I guess the moral of the story here is don't give up on a losing lane. Don't type GG after you give up first blood and your jungler feeds double buff to Rise. If you stay focused and keep on trying, you'll have an opportunity to come back in the game, whether you believe it or not. It's all about whether you can take that though, and whether you can recognize the opportunity and focus hard enough on the game, or if you just want to flame chat for all your teammates playing just as badly as you. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Before you go, I do have a few announcements. Firstly, the winners of the 3D printed ward giveaway have now been chosen. Congratulations to Luis Lorenzo and Mark Reichlab. Sorry if I'm butchering your last name, but congratulations to those guys. Check your YouTube inbox and I'll be in contact with you about getting you your 3D printed wards. If you did not win, sorry, but if one of them doesn't respond, I'll pick more winners, so you might still have a shot at it. But congratulations again to those guys, and thank you shapeways.com for providing these 3D printed wards. You can buy your own at shapeways.com. Sorry that it took so long to get this video out. I've been really busy with a lot of different things that I've been doing. I sort of mentioned earlier in the video, Super Smash Bros. Melee is probably the biggest thing that I've been busy with like the whole Nintendo Direct that just happened for Smash 4. I did a stream where I analyzed all the gameplay we saw and talked about some of the mechanics we're going to be seeing in Smash 4, like the dodge mechanics that they showed sort of hidden away in the video, and we got to see Greninja's moveset, his down B, up tilts, up smashes, all sorts of stuff. So I'm really excited about that, but I may be bringing out a few Smash videos if you guys are interested in that. I really enjoy making videos about other topics I have other than League, and sharing videos about other things that interest me other than just League, and sharing just things that I think you guys might enjoy, so I may make one video or two on that. But for those of you just interested in League, I do have some awesome League videos that I'm pretty sure you're all gonna like coming out sometime soon TM, so I hope you're all looking forward to those. But I won't take away too much of your time just talking about future content. You can look forward to the videos yourself. Thank you guys very much for watching once again, and until next time, good luck in solo queue and have a wonderful day.